Hello everybody, Wisethrice here. I'm sorry I haven't posted in a long time, but I had a lot of stuff happening, and I'm just now to the point where I can start recording. This is a quick Druid's Rune ramble while I get Druid's Rune 4 together and organized, called Why Owl Flies Alone. There was a time when the birds all flew together in the skyland. Eagle was considered the mightiest. Hawk was the most well-liked. Shrike was respected. Osprey was thought well of. Wren was adored. Crow was Crow, and tolerated despite his tricks. Among the birds, Owl was always on the edge of the company. The birds chattered and bragged, but whenever Owl tried to speak, they spoke over him. Owl's voice was soft, and so the other birds could not hear him. The birds would play games as to who could first find a thing. They would fly around during the day and try to be the first to spot their mark. Usually Eagle or Hawk would win, but the daylight always hurt Owl's eyes, so he would never win. Some of the birds would fly in large groups, making friends and becoming skilled at singing and speaking. But Owl was almost always alone, so he did not know their songs or jokes. It wasn't long until the birds began to make fun of Owl. They had long beaks. Owl had a stubby nose. They had brightly colored feathers. Owl had drab brown and gray coloring. It wasn't long before the jokes turned into mockery. Soon after that, it became disgust. The birds would often sometimes say hurtful things about Owl when they thought he was too far away to hear them. Eagle thought that Owl was stupid. Shrike thought that Owl was slow. Vulture thought that Owl was a workaholic. Crow thought Owl was frightening, that Owl's silence was somehow plotting. Wren believed that Owl was disgusting. But the birds were not aware that Owl had excellent hearing. He heard all these things they said about him, and confused and hurt, he flew away. Alone, Owl felt almost worthless. He had no one to try to talk with or to hunt with. For many days he cried that his friends would treat him so badly, and he was convinced that he must have done something to deserve it. Like many people who are depressed, Owl began to sleep in more. Soon he was sleeping into the early afternoons, and was up during the night, well almost to dawn. This is when something wonderful happened to Owl. He discovered that when he was alone for long enough, he didn't feel as bad as he had when he was with the other birds. He noticed that in the dark of the night, his eyes were actually quite sharp. It became apparent to him that for him the night was actually quite bright, and for others it was dark. His words, thought to himself, were not mocked or unheard. His coloring blended into the trees so he could not be seen. The time that he would have formerly spent trying to be liked was instead spent in hunting, and he got quite good at it, maybe even better than Shrike. He could even fly so quietly that he made almost no noise. His ears became so sharp that he could tell by sound almost as much as he could tell by sight. One day, as Owl was rising to go hunting, he heard some birds passing, and they said nasty things about him. They said that Owl must be egotistical and think that other birds were beneath him. They thought that Owl's being away from the others was proof of this. Owl was angry about this, but soon he let the remarks bother him not at all. The other birds would not put mice in Owl's belly, nor would they aid him in hunting. In fact, Owl was in competition now with no one. The bats that roamed the night ate insects and drank the nectar of night flowers. Owl had made new friends. The moon gave him light to see by. The night winds carried him every sound. The forest gave him shelter and food. He even found a lady owl hunting one night, and they hunted well together for many years and raised many chicks. What could the opinion of other birds matter to Owl compared to all of that? Thank you for listening. This has been a Druid's Rune Ramble. This story was written on March 7th, 2014 Common Era, and I'm recording it here on the 10th. I hope that you liked it, and if you want to talk about what I feel the spiritual meanings of the story are, please feel free to shoot me a line. In the earlier Druid's Ramble sections, I actually went into an explanation of the stories, but in retrospect, that made my posts about 20 minutes or so long, and I think it'd probably just be better to put the stories up themselves and let everybody get what they need out of it. And if you have some observations or you have some questions, shoot me a line and I'll give you my take on the story. Coming in at just under 5 minutes, I do hope this recording finds you well. May I all wish upon you health, wealth, and peace, and may I see you all again soon. Bye now.